Welcome back to this particular segment of GMU Agenda. And the beauty is that as we fast track towards Christmas, there's so much to talk about, so we don't actually get only lost in celebrations. Now, our usual suspects are in-house. I know we have Robert Chidabonyonyintono. It's good to have you again in this particular segment.
Thank you.
And also the Global Peace Ambassador, our guest Milton Kambura.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
an honor to have you.
Oh, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How have you been?
Quite okay.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We are happy. God
Yeah.
is making it for us again.
Definitely. How are your people?
Wow. We have really solved many conflicts in those communities, and I really appreciate those who forgave and dialogued with their opponents this year.
Yeah.
And we look forward 2019 to become a year of peace and harmony.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Now, today we're looking at pillars of national building in this 21st century. As a country, we have come far. That's very, very far. When you look at our preamble of the Constitution, it gives a reflection of how far we have come. And it says, remembering where we have come and where we sought to go. Laws have been made, governments have changed, legislators have changed, but Uganda has stayed. Africa has stayed, and the world has stayed. We must adopt, as a new generation, to always live in the moving times of these particular states like Uganda and Africa and the world at large. But of course, we must appreciate the key concepts of building a nation. Just to start with Mr. Kambura here, Milton. When we talk about national building, what are we looking at? What is the gist of national building?
When that concept was introduced after the Industrial Revolution, men and women by that time were focusing on leadership and governance issues. That without leadership, without a shared vision, without shared values and development principles, such a nation building preambles may not be achieved. So nation building is focusing on the elements that people play or put on the table as they rise their country from poverty to prosperity. And it is done by shared efforts and development partners who bring resources on the table to develop education, to develop the infrastructure, dams, energy, to develop the parliament, laws, to develop cultural and religious institutions that drive the national vision and spiritual values. So nation building brings all together those elements together that every Ugandan is participating towards achieving, both at individual level, at community level, or at institutional level, but all of us aligned to making sure we contribute to nation prosperity.
Okay. Now, speaking about nation building and prosperity for that matter, Robert, what is it that we have not done yet?
I think is knowing that we all have a role to play.
Okay.
The challenge you're having is casting blame.
All right.
You know, what hasn't been done because someone somewhere you feel has the responsibility. And many of us, we believe in what do I get out of Uganda, but what do I give to Uganda as my motherland? You know, in every field you are, or every Ugandan has got a role to play towards nation building. You don't have to be in government, and I think that is what we are lacking. We are also lacking patriotism. Patriotism is no longer amongst us. The love for one's country and feeling you're part of that nation is what we are lacking today.
Now knowing the gaps, as Robert has highlighted them there, Milton, what are we looking at? What are the pillars of national building? Just if we could take them, so we know if there are three, then we can tackle them individually.
Wow.
What are the basic pillars of national building?
As I have shared, and thank you, my brother, for that core element you have really shared with the country. The core elements or pillars of nation building, especially now in the 21st century. One is a shared vision. The Bible says that my people are perishing because they are lacking wisdom, knowledge, and that knowledge is, of course, by reading the scriptures. And each one of you remember that man called John the Baptist. You remember that man? The man who said, please let's work together and clean the way, because the Son of God is coming onto the world. That prophecy is about to happen. That is 25th. Tomorrow we will be witnessing that prophecy coming true. A shared national vision. For example, I can use the example of our organization. We say, regardless of tribe, nationality, religion, political parties, economic status, gender, all humankind is one family under God. That when God came onto this world, he did not just create religions. He didn't create political parties, but he created a human being who is supposed to live in harmony, in unity with one another. Such a spiritual, powerful vision is what can unite a nation. That when people come together, then they can work together to actually build a vibrant economy. You want to interject?
Yes, I want to interject.
Yes.
When you talk about, you're looking at the pillars now.
Yes.
Like Felix asked,
exactly.
What are these pillars?
Yes.
And one, you said a common vision.
Yes.
But then, if you want to build our nation, there's some of the things that we are leaving for a certain class. How many Ugandans, if we have a national vision, I want to ask, and know what our national vision is, so that you can move towards that national vision? Do you have a national vision, and could you be knowing what our national vision is?
No, I would say that a national vision must be appreciated together as a country.
Yes.
And when you look at the Constitution of Uganda, it has what you call national objectives. The reason why I gave an inception of a preamble was because it is the only resonation of who we truly are. Because not until we appreciate where we have come from, we cannot know where we stand and perhaps where we shall go. Now, Milton here talks about a national vision that must reflect these concepts. Where are we from? Where are we? Where do we go?
Exactly.
But because of the absence, I don't know if any of you can defend that, but in my opinion, that because of the absence of a national vision, we have a divided, segmented vision.
Exactly.
And that is a challenge to now nation building, as Milton said.
And any nation that is not united towards a common vision will never prosper, will never achieve peace, will never achieve any prosperity, because people are divided. But a national vision helps the country actually have a common shared culture.
Yes.
Sir Robinson from London has just produced a book, and in his book he emphasizes about culture, that culture changes the entire game plan of the country.
It does.
And so for us, and this goes to the government, our government, not until every household, not until all schools, all religious institutions, government ministries, every Ugandan gets that national vision at heart and works towards achieving that vision at individual level, as a unit, as friends, as institutions, aligned toward that vision. And that is one of the elements in the 21st century, that any nation intending to reach to its destination of prosperity and peace, it has to first invest heavily in educating every Ugandan about that national vision. It is the basis and the foundation. But the second one, which is also key, is what we call shared universal principles. These don't change because it's God who gave them to us. For example, during this Christmas, I urge every Ugandan to at least demonstrate the vision. You can create a vision, you can get the national vision, share it with a neighbor, have a family meeting. But the core principles drives the vision, because people who don't have principles, they will be like air everywhere. They are stuck. You are doing this, jump on this, One of the key universal principles that has helped nations like United States and even China, which is rising up, is the fundamental understanding that every human being has intrinsic value, intrinsic natural, fundamental human rights. And every human being is important. God created us equal. And so it is now the basis of respect, of dialogue, of forgiveness.
Now,
The fact that you know that someone or my friend has value in the sight of God, just as equal as you, then it calls for partnership, collaboration. It melts down the identity-based issues eating Africa, because we recognize that we are important to each other. Then offices can have all tribes, ministries can have all tribes, all religions. The country, it's because everyone respects and values each other.
I like the fact that Milton has hinted on the fact of values and respect. And that will bring me to the question, Robert, that in Uganda we have seen one of the biggest challenges to governance, transparency, tranquility, success and growth has been by far the absence of respect of each other. And this brings into play things like greed, theft, what we want to call corruption. Because why would I think that a sick Robert somewhere in hospital is not important, but me building a mansion is important? Now I want to ask Robert, do you think we have a level of human respect in Uganda, basing on Milton's definition of the universal principles? Do you think we have a level of respect, of human dignity for that matter, in Uganda, legally, morally, and in practice?
Legally we do, because our constitution
Definitely
emphasizes that. It's very clear, or so many clauses in our constitution show that.
Simply chapter 4 of the constitution really speaks to that.
So we have that. When we come to morally or practically, there we have a problem. But also I think this goes back to our background as a country, as a nation, right from our independence. What has the country gone through? I think we've just had the last 30 years or so, where we can say actually 20, or not even complete absence of war. You know, when a country is ravaged by war, there are a lot of things that happen, and sometimes it takes generations, well-managed generations, to see a generation that entirely, practically speaks, acts, and has respect for each other. With our background, we still see you're still struggling with rehabilitation of people in northern Uganda who went through war. You still have other people that have those remnants of war into them over time. But
don't you think, Robert, you are hiding under the technicality of the excuse to oust the existence of universal principles as defined by Cameron? And I'll tell you why. I think it has become a cake for us to always fall back. I think we need to fall forward.
Exactly.
If you're speaking about a country that's celebrating over 50 years of independence, we cannot, I think we should have done better. We have had chance, and God has blessed this country to appreciate what went wrong. Are we even trying to, do we even have efforts to make things better? Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Is there an effort to make things better?
The efforts are there.
Because when you talk about dignity of human beings, look at the enormous evidences of torture. And in all institutions. Let's look at the parliament. We have seen in prisons, we have seen in police, we have seen in the army, we have seen wananchi. Let's look at policy, because policy of government should later on trickle into respect of people. Let's look at the number of women who die every day because there's someone who corruptly took the money. Because in Uganda it is on record, and as a global peace ambassador, Kambra can testify that at least 14 women die every day. As this show started up till now, maybe 5 or 6 have died. Can't we stop this? How many Ugandan children don't sit for exams? Does this speak to respect and dignity of each other? Yet, we have individuals, known individuals, by far, who have swindled money. And the president said it openly. We are tired. We are tired. And government is swinging in, maybe to revive the dignity, perhaps, for that matter.
And you're very right, and that's why I emphasize individual responsibility.
Exactly.
So it starts with me. It goes on to our viewers. This Christmas, why Jesus was born, is to liberate the human race, because we had turned like dogs on the earth. And so these fundamental facts and realities I'm sharing on this television today, the biggest network in this region, part of the world, is that today, as you are celebrating Jesus' birth, please demonstrate this in your home, in your family, by showing value to your children, value to your wife, value to your mother and father, value to your extended family and the entire community. It is then that now what you're talking about, the death, because the police has individuals from different families.
Yeah, from families,
you know?
yes.
So it's not just the law. The law is there, it is written, but it has to be practiced. And it starts with the vision, as I've said, shared principles for peace. These are universal principles. Universal principles means no government, and I repeat this, no government gives these rights. They are fundamental, endowed by God.
They're divine.
They are divine. If the moment you go astray about them, then you will not respect the Constitution, what you're talking about.
That's true.
You will remain corrupt. It means it's that phrase, respect for one another, having value for one another. It means when you have value for one another, then you will not steal the money and the budget meant for Mulago Hospital. Then you will not steal that money that is meant to construct a dam somewhere, because you got to know that the road being constructed is for human beings like you. So it starts there. But the last component of nation building in the 21st century is now, how do we demonstrate these universal principles? One is by having a framework of a shared value system. Values. What is the first value system? Living for greater good. That is where, when you talked about patriotism, I was here excited. When you said people no longer love their country. But how do people love their country if they don't have a shared vision? Definitely you love your country, me I don't love my country. You are lifting up, I'm lifting you down.
And that's the thing, that is what we are facing in Uganda, Milton and Robert. You believe that because Robert is doing so fine at the cost of Felix, we can't have a shared vision of the country. As you speak patriotism, I'm asking myself, my kids are going hungry. My children are seated home. But there's a cause for this. There's a cause for this. Robert, you spoke about patriotism. But I happen to have attended one of the patriotism studies and arts organized by the Office of the President. I would want to ask Robert, is patriotism taught? In your own definition, what is patriotism? In relation to what Milton is saying, what would it be, and how do we, as a generation, as a program, as a television, as a broadcaster, help Ugandans understand patriotism, perhaps become more patriotic? Do you speak patriotism to a person whose groceries have been crushed by KCCA? Are you going to speak patriotism to a person who has lost a wife in hospital because there's no medicine? Are you going to speak patriotism to someone who has nothing to even celebrate Christmas because of maybe what is patriotism? And how do we revisit the values of that common appreciation?
Patriotism, it has something to do with someone's feelings first, but also it is taught. People are taught to love their country if they, like you talked of a common vision. Someone can come to you. Let me take an example of faith. Someone can come to you. Faith has something regarding a feeling. I'm a born again. And they will preach to you salvation. And what they have told you doesn't matter, what situation you're going through, but you'll accept Christ as your Lord and Savior. So even patriotism, as long as the package, great nations of this world invest in patriotism. When you go to the US, they teach this. When you go to China, they have a way that they put a generation right from childhood. I was in Israel, no born agains, we go there so often, Israel. But I met a young kid, and this person will tell you, despite the challenge of Israel that they're going through, he will tell you there is no country better than my land. But you find that right from the parents, they teach that yes, you have a responsibility. Your wife could have died in hospital because lack of drugs, but you must prevent this from occurring.
Who?
You know, you, that in case one day you're in charge of this, don't do this. So this issue of thinking that I must love my country because of what it has done for me. We must front, I must make my country better for either me or somebody else to get it better. So the challenge we are
sorry for that. When he says that to make my country better, that's where the story gets exciting and very sweet. The nations, when we say government, for example, many people always think these are the ministers, these are the MPs, this is generally the government up there. A government is you and me. The local people, we are the government in the 21st century. And when I actually talked about living for greater good, it simply means if me and you today, starting today, start living for the sake of others, it simply means in the next 20 years, we will reshape the nature of a type of government we are going to have. So usually we complain, government has not done this. It is government, the one you know, Museveni and his government and all those leaders. Their output is dependent on the quality of the population and their output at local level. So it simply means throughout this Christmas, when we are discussing nation building, it reminds us that we should now start demonstrating the culture of living for the sake of others. Dream big. When people in a nation like we are 40 million people, today every one of us starts dreaming big. It simply means even our attitudes and mindset are going to change. And so it will mean you will no longer steal that chicken in the village, but now looking at mobilizing your colleagues to start a company, dreaming big. It simply means if you are a member of parliament, you will no longer look at jumping the tables in parliament, but looking at negotiating with the other political party to build interpolitical party dialogue towards education transformation. Thinking big, it means our mothers who in the village will no longer now sit in the community as mothers behind the kitchen, but looking at nurturing children of good character when the man is at the workplace. So these shared values now help us to drive the principles. Which principles help us to achieve the national vision? That alignment is very, very key in nation building, colleagues.
Just about the same thing I want to ask. All of you know, I believe, you must be, I know you're quite learned people. When you speak about all the values, and with due respect to all them, and they're quite true, the concept of psychology, Robert, if you're seated here with me in studio today, and you're going home empty-handed, you don't know what you left for your family, you don't even know how they're going to go through the day, the night, and tomorrow. How much can you love this country? I think we need to have a fair portion of approach. I saw a video one time when the KCCA was arresting a vendor, a lady, mother of two, and how she was carried with one of the babies at the back and thrown on the truck, pushed around, thrown back, and the kid also carried and thrown on, and they drove away. This is one of the incidents that we are fortunate to have seen. The other day we saw a man arrested in town, being clamped with what we call a bat of the gun, and we saw that. We saw what happened, what has been happening throughout the year. I'm not saying that these incidents define patriotism, but these incidents, and I've told you, Robert, let's see, we are speaking about a man who lost a wife. I know of a story that I can testify on, that a woman died in Mulago because she didn't have 20,000 shillings to access a theater. And that is just the one that I know of. But there are very many you know, and our viewers know. With these existences in a country that still define the livelihood of Ugandans, the scorching level of corruption and theft of public funds. I use the word scorching technically because it is too much. That all these things are a very strong force against patriotism. Let's be honest. Psychology says, and you know this for a fact, that in the situations that I've given you, how do you come and tell me, Milton, love your country, be a patriot, speak life to your... The challenge is, Uganda is a country that can never go. We have had Obote, Amin, Mutesa, the colonial masters. Where are they today? We must be able as a generation to defuse Uganda from government.
Yes.
That as I speak about Uganda, Robert and Milton, I don't speak about Uganda as a government. You've traveled to the United States. You've shared with the Americans. They speak about their country because they have pride in it. Yes. And after speaking that, they'll tell you, because I can speak about the president freely, because I can speak about issues in my country freely, because, and you've seen all these things. You've seen people talk to Trump directly. That is the respect. Because they believe that whatever that touches the matter of their country can be discussed regardless. Now, that is the question. We have a force that is fighting patriotism. And all these things I've highlighted. And you and me know, as a matter of fact, that how do we put up a force? Honestly, some of these things have beaten people's love for our country by far. How do we tally an equal force to still have patriotism, values standing in this country?
Felix and people watching us.
You know, and Robert, knowing that you've been a victim of violence.
Yes, I've been a victim of violence. But there always has to be a time when we say enough is enough. The problem is when we say and feel that enough is enough, and you're not willing to participate in the change. We've seen Ugandans more devoted to political change.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And they're very willing to participate in all avenues for political change. Which is not, because we've had political change, and situations have not changed.
Exactly.
So we need to rethink and understand that most of the problems my counterpart pointed out here, my colleague Felix pointed out, we have a role as you and me. Let me give a few examples. When we talk about corruption today, people swindle in government money. Of late, do it in a chain that is syndicate. If Felix blocks part of this chain, I won't be able to swindle this money. If I come to Felix with a deal that is going to fleece government funds and Felix says, I say no to corruption. I come to him, he says, I say no to corruption.
Exactly.
I will not continue. If I'm a doctor in a hospital and my counterpart comes with a deal to steal a microscope, to steal reagents, and I say no. So as long as we still think that Uganda is in the hands of those in authority only, and look at them to cause the transformation that we want, to make this Uganda that we can appreciate and talk about and cherish, but we play the back seat role, then we shall not get there. Patriotism calls for your effort and my effort to make Uganda a better place. Of course, there are challenges, there are setbacks. Psychologically, sometimes we all feel that, but you know, really, you open papers and you see about 40 billions, then you see so and so acquitted in court, and you wonder, the public court is very clear, oh, your mobi, it is evident, and then courts come out. Then sometimes there's political interference, he was cleared, he was pardoned, all those. But all those withstanding, it begins with you and me. If I decided to say, I want, you want, he won't, then there is someone who is going to say, I went to hospital. One time my colleague said, I've seen people fall sick and I've never had free blood transfusion. But Felix said in Masaka, he got free blood transfusion. So that alone, that statement, those gallant sons and daughters of this nation that said no to theft, you get this drug, made you love your country better. If I come with a story, I paid 300, and someone says we got it free of charge, then that person has something to cherish about Uganda, be proud of Uganda. So if we continue and the chain goes and goes, it will just take a short time.
Well, anyway.
And then people love their country because of the acts of you
there
and
we
me.
are. Milton, let's look at another principle of nation building.
The other, they are called shared values in nation building. I'm very happy he has exhausted the pillars of patriotism, loving your country. You got to know that there is no any other home apart from Uganda. You only have, you were born here. God gave us this home. And so why Americans, I like them, is that they know that in the whole world, they only have America. And so they have responsibility, individual responsibility, to build the greatest nation.
I mean, not because America is the best country to be.
Exactly.
It has got a lot of issues and problems.
Exactly.
Many Americans die because they lack medical care.
True, but they will never say outside when they reach here that our
their
country
media is very sensitive.
Yes, exactly.
Their
That's
media is very
important.
sensitive. I have a friend, and we were talking, we have a forum of journalists. So he kept on asking me certain things regarding my country. So one day I asked him, but I need this and this. He said, I can't give you that information. I was like, brother, what is happening? Say, no, that is for the American people.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
then there's something I asked and said, that is scandalous. You know, we can't publicize that to you. But for us, you will dish out anything.
That is a fundamental
They have very
thing.
big problems, and they don't love America because it's the best place to be.
Yes.
Actually, when you look at the real affairs of America and deeply understand how hard it is to live in America than a Ugandan to live in Uganda, you know, it's not the best place to be. But they love their country.
Well,
they cherish their country.
That's why in the next fourth value is moral and innovative leadership. You know, these shared values in the 21st century help to actually nurture a new nation that can flourish, that can compete globally. But you got to organize your nation. Now, moral and innovative leadership has to be adopted because leadership influences change in all sectors of the nation. Without leadership, without those leaders that are exemplary, but guided by morality, accountability, ethical culture, as the basis upon which they are supposed to deliver their mandate, then innovative leadership, because you can be ethical, but you are not innovative. It means you are not taking people anywhere. So we go to now redesign the definition of leadership in Uganda, in Africa. Moral and innovative leadership means that you will be a leader who will inspire the nation to live a moral life, to live an innovative life, where a leader has capacity to show the vision, remember, to demonstrate shared values, but also very important, to actually use the available natural resources and opportunities to get people out of poverty, to get people out of conflict, to get people out of ignorance. It simply means such a leader is the one supposed to be in public service and in the entire government system, in the church. A moral and innovative leader, you be a parent, as we speak, you're a parent listening to us, please throughout 2019, be a moral and innovative leader in your family.
There must be something different to bring to the table.
Exactly. So a moral leader, or it's not just Museveni to be a moral and innovative leader, but even you as a parent.
In all the structures.
You know, a teacher, be a moral, because all Ugandans got to know that leadership is no longer one person who is the head teacher, no, who is the minister of education. Moral and innovative leadership encompasses that every Ugandan, from the age of 5, you got to demonstrate moral and innovative leadership. It simply means if you're a youth listening to this television, start from 2019 to demonstrate moral and innovative leadership. That year, 2019, is going to be a successful year. And if you do it, I do it, another person does it, and another person, all the institutions, it simply means we can even achieve the Vision 2040 in just 3 years. Because the whole country, everyone is aligned to demonstrate certain principles, certain shared values, geared or aligned towards a common objective for collective impact. That's where it begins. Leadership influences transformation at all levels, and the country will stabilize and will become the greatest nation on the earth immediately.
Robert, briefly, very briefly, are Ugandan leaders innovative? Just that.
No.
Why? Why do you say that?
You see,
You've not seen anything new over time?
I would give a 50-50. You know, being innovative calls for the love of what you're doing, you know. And of late, we have very many leaders who are in leadership, not because of the love, but because of the money. And when you're money-driven, monetary-driven, it kills on innovativeness. Because at the end of the day, you're focusing on...
You lose your reason.
You lose... Your reasoning is corrupted by the monetary values that you attach to that position. Look at our lead members of parliament. You know, there are some members of parliament that are very innovative. Their constituencies have been transformed. I want to pick a leaf from Rosemary Seninde. She's not my area member of parliament, but you see that she has a foundation doing this. And these are all members of parliament. One will tell you, for us, hands off, eyes on. And my role is only to be in parliament, pass laws, and all that. Then another will transform their constituency with various innovations.
Exactly, exactly.
So as long as we have LC ones, as long as you're not there for the right cause, but you're there for tangible, most monetary benefits, innovation is killed, and the majority of our leaders are there for monetary values. So the innovation has been destroyed a long time ago. I don't see there an innovation.
To add on his voice, you realize that as we speak, the nation needs to know this, especially the parents and our young people, you know, and the government. Innovation in terms of technology, it also has to be managed by moral leadership. So we got this.
When you talk about morals in this country, it is very absurd.
Yeah.
Because where would think the family unit, first of all, has been destroyed.
Yeah.
We have absentee parents.
We have absentee parents, those that are doing it intentionally, and those that are doing it because that is how they have to live their lives. So once the family unit, because morals are built on two things. Your faith, that is your religion.
Yes.
And the family. That is why there are things a person will not do because of his family background. He'll say, I'm a Muslim, and the way I was brought up, we don't drink. Another will drink.
Exactly.
Our family. Then another will say, as a Catholic, I can't do this. As a born again, as a Protestant, I can't do. So when you have religion and family both wanting in a country, bury the morals,
don't you think also
and rest
culture
them
is
in
part
peace.
of that?
Very key. And to add
also culture,
actually, who drives the vision? Who drives the shared values? Who shared the universal principles? I'm happy that you're ahead of the game and a very bright young man. Now, we have 4 fundamental institutions. Not government. Government is not part of, because government is dependent on the quality of the population. A president is a reflection of the quality of the population. So if all of you are are not that level, definitely you will get a president who reflects the cultural and value system. So we have 4 institutions that we would like to share with the nation, that our focus to driving nation building in the 21st century. You have talked about the family. It is the family where the seed of character is nurtured into the children. Now, it is the responsibility of the parents to actually sit down with their children and nurture the vision of the country, because it is these young people that are going to build the nation. That's what happens in the United States. Parents sit down with their children and say, this is the greatest nation in the world. And you know what? We can never allow any nation to win us at the battlefield, in technology, in education. You know, they are nurturing this in their children, so that at the beginning of just 10 years, these young people are in different sectors showcasing to the world that this indeed is the greatest nation, and we are ready to defend it no matter what. So the institution of the family, the parent
Newton, just there, when you hear a parent saying, Twakowa. This is a parent. Uganda, you know, so these children also grow up knowing that you're in a country that it is bad.
Do you know why, Robert?
It is going to the dogs.
I'll tell you why.
Just that way.
You cannot give what you don't have.
But you can create a picture that you have what you don't have.
Why? Why then create
You
pictures?
can live by faith.
But why do you create pictures? Let's be honest, Milton here.
Yeah.
You cannot give
And you
what
can
you
look
don't
for
have.
the good in every situation.
No, Robert, I want us to be honest. Let us speak like you see. This whole thing of niceties of media and what we need to be honest, because Ugandans out there have trusted us when we sit as the fourth estate. It's important to also be because we speak for all sectors of people.
Definitely we do.
You cannot give what you don't have. I will tell you, it is wrong for a man to go into a relationship when you don't even love yourself, or a woman, because you don't have what to give. You don't have what to give in this relationship. You're only going to give sadness, hatred, crying, complaining.
The lady will run away.
That's the thing.
And what he's saying,
No.
I am inspired by the children of Israel. Moses look at how God used Moses. He said, "You're going to liberate my people from Israel." He did not have fuel. No, he did not. He just went to these people, say, "I have come here to get you out of this bondage, and we're going back home, the land of milk and honey." They asked, of course, as you have asked, and you have talked about it, and they asked, "Where is the fuel? Where is the bus taking us? Where is this?" And Moses, do you know what he told him? What he told them? No, God has provided. Because he did not have anything in his pocket. Remember, he was a weak man. He
Look
couldn't
for the
speak.
good in that situation.
It inspired the Israelites to actually start a journey without even a penny, and some of them, of course, during the travel, some of them started, "Moses, where are you taking us?" Even after seeing the miracles on the way, people, are confused. But the power of the vision, as I have said, it is the power of the vision, not the money, not the gold you have under the ground, not the oil. Uganda is trying to say, yes, prosperity is about to come. The power is in the vision. When every young man and woman is inspired by his nation through such a powerful vision that, yes, we are small,
A vision
nation,
that they don't know.
but we are going to work together to
Milton.
build a united nation.
How are you going to... you've talked so much of vision. But how are you going to get Ugandans
How many of you play cards? Which one do you play cards?
to understand that we need a vision?
Yes, you see when you're playing cards, you play your cards like this. You hide your cards from the opponent. And this country, people in charge of this country have hidden the vision. That's why we don't have a shared vision. And that's what I was trying to tell you, that let us be honest.
Yeah.
You can't pass on to the kids. Robert, you're talking about tell your kids good things about Uganda, but I can only say what I have seen, what has happened to me. If your mother died in a hospital because there was no doctor, there was no market, how am I supposed to tell this orphan, hey, ensino nunji, mama uyatufako na yensi nunji? What kind of nonsense is that? Let's be honest.
And to be honest with you, is that, as I have said, yes, you cannot give what you don't have. That's why I'm
But there is a good
Exactly.
in everything.
Yes.
And I believe in this country, Uganda,
Yes.
we have so many goods that we can inculcate
I would want to know
in our kids to love this country,
And-
to appreciate this
and-
country,
we would want our
and
kids to
to
love this
know
country. By the
that
way,
they have a role
Yes.
to play
but
in
you see,
transforming this country.
2019, that's why the focus has to go to, you see, when you are negative, then you cannot do anything.
Yes.
I have hope that 2019 is going to be a year where every parent is going to sit down with their children and share the national vision.
Which vision are they going to share?
The universal values, the universal principles, the family. The second institution is now all of us as a country.
You're sounding, I don't want to say theological, prophetic, prophetical, but I want you to be more practical. You know? Because when you sound, I believe 2019,
Yes.
every mother, what is it that they're going to pass?
Very
Because-
good. How
and
have they
do,
even
do
finished
they
this
know it?
year?
Has it been indoctrinated? Let me even use that word, into them,
Yes.
you know, spoken into them. Because they must, first, I like the patriotism clubs in schools, you know. They are doing good if they can have more funding. Because we need to have a generation that is well set to transform a future generation.
Exactly.
Because the current generation has issues.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So have we done effort like Israel does it, like China, like current North Korea is doing it? They have efforts intended, have budgets put specifically for this. You know, as they're improving, as they're building their warfare, America has a policy, they have training that we are superpower. And every America must maintain America as a superpower. They are fighting China champions, because it's coming as another superpower, which is also training its young citizen that China must be a superpower ahead of America. Ugandans, what are you training your people?
What is our
Where
vision?
is the effort for this?
Our
vision are we discussing?
Our vision 2040 is looking at actually getting this entire population from poverty, from this traditional status to a middle class status, where everyone can afford all the basic necessities of life. We are talking about around $1,000 and plus dollars. Everyone can be able to participate in the global economy.
Have you walked that talk of that vision?
That is the question.
Have you put specific budgets? When the agricultural sector, where a majority of Ugandans, I want to use the word majority. Yes, the president is talking about commercial agriculture. How much have you invested towards that so that you can get this vision of these peasants, poor people, being able to have basic needs?
Is that we sometimes don't know the priorities. The priority in a nation like Uganda is to first invest heavily in promotion of a national vision, so that it is written on everyone's door, so that everyone can know, hey, this is what we are working for. That's where it begins.
What efforts have you put there? Do we have a budget that is going to do that?
I think that is the main problem. And
patriotism clubs are fainting. Today they're in school, tomorrow they're not there. I remember when, I don't know the army rank right now, is in Mr. Masiko. With all humbleness, let me use that word. I think he's now Kano. You know, with military, you have to be very sensitive, not to lower rank. So I remember this gentleman, at one time I was a member of these clubs to our institution, but reached a time where even you don't have paper to write on. You know, and this is very basic.
Why didn't you buy paper?
And this is very basic. We were students, you don't have equal. So priority number one.
You've been here saying
priority number one is, if we need to transform, we need to invest in teaching the vision. In ensuring we have a generation that is going to come up, like the Israelis did it, like the Americans did it, like the people in China, North Korea currently, under this leader that some people think maybe this man is so what. They're investing in this,
but
which you've not done.
2019 should be a huge focus on family strengthening, where parents are doing their part. Then there is what we call interreligious, intercultural, interpolitical leadership development. Now, today, the problem in Uganda, probably in the way we are going to fail, is that everyone is isolated from each other. We are simply fighting for ourselves, you know. We go to now see, how do we drive the vision? How do we drive the universal principles and shared values? We go to see the component and the culture of interreligious.
You can't drive what you don't know. You can't.
Just about the vision and that. Let us take a small commercial break. And we shall be back to dive into the same discussion as Milton, Robert and I shall try to look at all our national, the pillars of national building, wider, even far beyond just patriotism and a vision. Because we must appreciate them on a country level, East Africa bloc, and perhaps later on Africa as a continent. Let's take a commercial break.
The Office of the Special Presidential Assistant on Diaspora Issues, in conjunction with Uganda government institutions, have organized a conference to give back to Ugandans living in the diaspora in one place. It's the Diaspora Ugandans Awareness Day on 28th December at Mestil Hotel in Zambia from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's a one-stop center for all services for the diaspora. Come and get dual citizenship certificates in 1 hour. Nira is to give out national IDs and birth certificates. Come and get a driver's license from First Technologies. All banks will be available to open up accounts. Come and save for better retirement and affordable housing from NSSF. Phones and treasury bills from Bank of Uganda. Come and register your marriage with URSB. Uganda Tourism Board will guide you where to have your holiday. For affordable housing, National Housing and Construction Company will be available. Issues with taxes, Uganda Revenue Authority will be at your service. For health insurance, Insurance Regulatory Authority will be available. Minister of Lands to sort out land issues. Turkish Air to sell tickets on cheap prices. It's the Diaspora Uganda Awareness Day on 28th December at Mestil Hotel in Zambia.
Following the amendment of the Excise Duty Act by the government of Uganda, the public is hereby informed that the mobile money tax has been amended. The tax of 0.5% will apply on cash withdrawals only. For example, tax on withdrawals of 100,000 shillings is 500 shillings. There will be no tax charged on the following transactions: sending money, receiving money, depositing money, and making payments. For more information or queries, please contact our customer care toll-free line 100 or visit our websites at airtel.co.ug, mtn.co.ug, and africell.ug.
Now here's what I'm gonna do. I know a debt to love has been paid. I'm gonna tell you right now, baby.
At Total, we go the extra mile for you.
Wedding traditions and customs vary greatly between cultures, countries, and social classes. On Platinum, we bring you a glimpse of bridal fashion for both men and women, hairstyles, makeup, and shoes, where you can pick a leaf for your occasion. The magnificent Platinum decor. The Platinum cake. The unforgettable moments at our traditional ceremonies. The riders where we tie our knots. And the party begins.
Well, welcome back to GMU Agenda. Good morning, Uganda at UBC. It is the 24th day of December and tomorrow is Christmas. But of course, we're trying to look at particular aspects of national building. And just before we went for a break, we're speaking about values and patriotism. And back here, we're trying to discuss a couple of things that I'll also bring to table. As we speak about a shared vision, our viewers and my colleagues in studio, the things that we must not limp, to have a leapfrog over. One, Robert, you asked, and I'll also ask again from our viewers, how many people in Uganda know the meaning of our national anthem, the meaning of our emblems? How much respect is accorded, as Milton you're saying, to our national flag? How many families, in honest of honests, have a national flag in their house? When you are in America, almost every household has a flag. And that is the beginning of respect and heartfelt belonging. How many of our leaders speak good whenever they have an opportunity? How many of Ugandans live by God and our country? These are the things that shall later on trickle into. Robert, you're saying here, how many even students in school still sing the national anthem? Let's be honest, if you're to do a sample today, and in university, not even go to university, ask the people studying if they know the stanzas of this. Knowing the stanzas, can they be understood? Because the reason why we have national anthems is to reflect on the culture, the religion, the belief that we stand for as a country. Now, not until we understand the essence of our own being, we cannot know how to get forward. That's why I said that you cannot, and that's why I quoted the preamble in particular. If we do not know who we are, and by knowing that we must know where we came from, where we stand, and thus we shall know where to go. Today in Uganda, just a small comment I'll get from you. It is said that they are introducing teaching of languages like Mandarin. I think it's Mandarin or something, which is Chinese. In my opinion, I'm very saddened by such things. And with due respect to the fact that the Chinese are investing greatly in this country, do we have to learn Chinese if they invest in Uganda, or they have to learn our languages? When you go to France, when you go to Germany, when you go to Denmark, they give you a fresher course of 1 year to study a language, even when you are an investor, so you can fit into their systems. The only tool of trade we have as a country, as a culture, as a society, is what we own and what we are. Even when Obama became president of the United States, he never deflected from ever being Kenyan. He never said, I'm not born of, because that is who he is. And the only trade, and that's the only thing that made him different, that he was a son of a land of not where he belonged. Do you think the values we stand for as a country, Milton and Robert, are firm enough to trade vision?
They aren't. And we need to invest in this because countries, and I want to re-echo this, some of the countries we are talking of today invested.
It must have an investment,
and
yes.
It was not accidental. Because Uganda, we kind of think it has to be accidental. They set budgets.
Exactly.
They identified ambassadors. You know, we have the global peace ambassador. We need to have ambassadors that are going to preach this, not basing on their interests.
Yes.
That when you go to Chankwanzi,
now that's fusing politics with nationalism.
Now we are talking about patriotism that is teaching
it must
foundations of a particular area.
Party.
You know, when DP organize and they want to talk about Moyogwa Gwanga, the Moyogwa Gwanga is Beni Chiwanuka, is the confusion we are having.
Tribalism.
Is tribalism, is
sectarism.
No,
yes.
it's just causing divisions. We need to say, okay, as a nation, we need to go back on track. I was telling Milton, one of my niece that came from North Korea, you know, this child comes back and all the talk she's talking about is conquering the South. Very young, making guns. And I'm asking, what is happening? Then the person says, in our school, some of the things I need to get a translator who tells me what she's saying. In our school, we are taught the other part belongs to us. Can you imagine? And we must reclaim it. You see, that it was intentional, built in these children, that even when they grow,
they know what to fight for.
They know what to fight for. They know what brings them together. We have a neighbor in East Africa here, and one of my sisters works there. One of my cousin sisters works there, and the daughter goes to school there. But we had a partner, I was talking to this girl, and there was a game we were playing. So I wrapped and dropped certain things. And one of the young kids came and stole one and took the other one to hide. But she said, that brought back a nation. Return it. A young kid. But I asked her why. That when we are studying our history, our teachers tell us what spoiled this country. You know, you need to eat with this person. I asked her, why? Because all around this we are one. Now we are one person. So these are some of the things that don't come automatically.
You must invest.
You must invest in them. You go to our airport, you go to government offices. Do we have words that cherish Uganda, that show
ministries don't even have the flags of Uganda
and my country? Just maybe to use that. How many where do you go for a job interview? And one of the key questions is sing the 3 standards of our national anthem.
But how is it important for someone who's going to count money in a bank?
Yes, to you know, as you sing and explain what each stanza means. You get it? So that when I understand that for God and my country, you know, we forward God. beyond our interest. I will not steal this money.
When was the last time you sang the national anthem, Robert?
I must be very honest, because we are talking about honesty.
Yes.
It is about 3 weeks back at a public function. But I didn't even sing it.
Milton,
We've
when did you
recorded
last sing
it.
in national?
First wait. We
3
no
days
longer
back
even
when
sing.
we had the peace dinner.
Yeah, we no longer even sing our
It's
national
recorded.
anthem. It is recorded.
Yeah.
Just,
I
people
think
just,
that's where it
Mama,
gets wrong.